So the 4th of July is upon us. And one thing that absolutely bothers me about the 4th of July is the fact that it is called the 4th of July and not Independence Day.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Now, I'm sure most of you know this, but what really bothers me is some people don't even know that Independence Day is short for the Declaration of Independence. And if you don't know what the Declaration of Independence is, that's perfectly not fine. You should learn this. However, for the people who do not know, this was the day that our founding fathers signed a Declaration for Independence. And that is what led us to this magical moment where we go out and spend money on fireworks while paying taxes on those, which is absolutely fantastical. Now, if you don't know what started the Revolutionary War, well, there was quite a few things that did this. However, the biggest things was taxes. Now, you might be thinking, well, I bet the king was charging absurdly high taxes on absolutely everything. No, this kind of all started with, well, it might have started with the Sugar Act, which actually wasn't a tax, but what really got everybody riled up was the stamp tax. Now, what the stamp tax was if you wanted to print something on a piece of paper, that paper had to actually have a stamp on it saying that taxes have been paid out for that. Now, this really upset a lot of people, but what really upset people was whenever playing cards, paper playing cards, started getting taxed for this. Like, people were like, no, that's absolutely ridiculous, and everybody threw a fit about it. Now, eventually, they kind of like revised the whole situation and made some like little rules bending it and all this other stuff where people just didn't really have to pay that stamp tax. Now, next up is the Boston Tea Party, and this was whenever they were charging taxes on almost everything and people were getting pissed about it, so they decided to revolt against this and not allow ships to come into harbor. Now, most harbors stopped people from coming in. However, the Boston shipyard allowed this shipment of tea to come in, which, even though it came in, they still weren't allowed to offload it because there was people standing down there threatening their lives if they unloaded this tea. So it was kind of a stalemate until a bunch of guys who was kind of orchestrated by Samuel Adams, which, is our founding father, decided to go into the ship in the middle of the night, grab a bunch of crates of tea, and dump it overboard. And this pissed off the king so much so that, like, he sent some people after, Samuel Adams, a few other different people. This is kind of what really kicked off the whole revolution thing. Now, I'm not getting into the whole history of this revolution. I just wanted to emphasize the fact that the 4th of July is meant to celebrate the fact that we shouldn't have to pay taxes on ship. And with that being said, I want to leave you with a few quotes from one of our founding fathers, Samuel Adams, and that being, if our trade be taxed, why not our lands? Or produce, in short, everything we possess. I think that is a beautiful quote because you know what happened? Literally all of that happened. They taxed freaking everything, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But hang on. If ever the time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriot to prevent its ruin. Yeah, they didn't listen to that one, did they? No, they did not. Anyways, I thought that was interesting because if our founding fathers were raised from their graves today and seen what was happening in America, they would be oh so happy about it. I'm so sure. Anyways, with that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful Declaration of Independence Day on the 4th of July. Okay, have a great day. Bye. Now,